On behalf of Spark and the Office of Early Childhood and Out of School Learning, I want to welcome everyone here today. My name is Chelsea Hallinan. I am a coach of early learning business practices with Spark Learning Lab, and I have some other Spark people here with me today to support. Just a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and the link will be shared out at a later time if you need to revisit the info or share it with other staff. Because of the size of the meeting, we just ask that you keep yourself muted. Feel free to either wait till the end for presentations. There will be time built in at the end for that. And we'll make sure we get all those questions answered and add anything to the FAQs on the website or follow up with you as necessary. We're going to be utilizing the chat feature to take questions, so feel free to drop in your questions in the chat. And Jody and Tina are with me. They'll be helping direct those questions at the end or at an appropriate time when we're going through the deck. So
I do have one question for you, Chelsea. Is there a link for the first session?
I know the first session was recorded. I think we are trying to decide where that link is going to live and how it's going to go out. So let's keep an eye out for that, and we'll get an answer back to you about that for both this one and the previous session. We're also going to offer both sessions again in July, so keep an eye out for the Monday Must Knows for those if you want to revisit or attend that one in July as well. So thanks, Tina. Tina, sorry, you're muted if you're still present.
I hit the unmute. Sorry about that. Michaelin shared that links for both will be posted on the Spark website and also the YouTube, just for everyone's knowledge.
Thank you very much, Michaelin. All right. So let's get into the children's attendance codes. So a provider will be paid full time for all children enrolled until a child accumulates 40 absences in an enrollment year. If a child attends any part of the day, they should be marked as present. There's no minimum number of days or hours required, but the importance of regular attendance should be stressed and encouraged with families. So the attendance codes for the children are as follows. You'll use P for present, and this is the default setting for Monday through Friday. This is used when a child attended any amount of time during a given day. If a child is not present, the providers will need to update this to reflect absent or off day before submitting their attendance record. So then getting into the next one is absent, AB. Absent should be used when a child is regularly scheduled to attend, but was not in attendance at all on a given day, whether it was pre-planned or not. So for a child's vacations, sick days, emergencies, children are allowed up to 40 absence days across all providers that they attend per enrollment year. Providers will still be paid for absences until a child reaches 40 days. The final option then is an off day, OD. Off days, excuse me, on days when a child is not regularly scheduled to attend. So for example, the child only attends Monday through Thursday, then Friday would be an off day. These are the same days each week, and these days are paid and do not count against the child's excessive absence total. Full-time children that attend 5 days per week will never use off days, and a child should never have a full week of off days. So looking at absences, if a child does not attend due to illness, vacation, etc., these are absences, not off days, and that's really important to note. If a child has a chronic medical condition or extended hospitalization that causes them to miss a lot of days, the parent should submit paperwork from the doctor to the eligibility office. Once that's approved, they can miss additional days without it counting against their excessive absence total. So it's important to keep in mind that you can do a roster cleanup. Provider forms should not be sent until a family has enrolled and the child is ready to start attending. Do not send over provider forms for families if you have a waiting list or if the family has just completed a tour and isn't committed to attending. Vouchers should only be assigned when there's an opening at the program, the child is scheduled to attend, and the program is open and operating. So for example, they're not closed for the summertime. If a child no longer attends a program, or the start date changes, or they'll be out for an extended period of time, or they enroll but they never attend, providers must contact their local eligibility office to update their roster within 5 business days to avoid an improper payment. This gives time for them to adjust those vouchers before the payment is made. And a school-age child that only attends on school breaks will only have vouchers assigned to that program during those breaks. There should not be vouchers during the school year if they're not attending before and after school. The program will only be paid during those school breaks. Vouchers should never be assigned for just in case a parent may need to use it at some time. And if a provider continues to be paid for a child that is no longer enrolled, this will result in an improper payment, and a repayment to the state will be required for those funds. If you need to do a roster cleanup or a payment recoup request, please complete the form and send that to assist in getting the process of those done faster. I'm going to drop that in the chat here, the roster cleanup form, just so you can access that. So then yeah, go ahead, Tina, sorry.
Sorry, we have a question in the chat.
Yeah,
What
go
do
ahead.
we do if we have submitted children's names on the cleanup roster as they no longer attending, but they are not removed?
Okay. I would recommend starting with reaching out to your eligibility office. Let me go back just a page here. You would want to reach out to your your eligibility office in order to clarify that with them. Make sure the form was received, and check in on getting that corrected. Is there anything, we have Shannon in the room. I'm not sure if there's anything that we need to add to that.
Nope, that's perfect. Those should be processed within about a week. So if you're not seeing them within that time, I would definitely follow up.
Thank you very much. All right, so then entering closures. Providers can enter, change, or delete closure dates in the past or in the future, as long as that service period hasn't yet been submitted. You can also enter future dates for the current calendar and the first quarter of the following year. So in this case, you can enter dates in 2025 through the end of March of 2026. Those closures can be entered into the provider payment portal, the PPP, even if you are entering absences through a CCMS. And no attendance is required if you've marked a closure for that day. Provider closures should not be marked as off days. So we'll get into these provider attendance codes then. So a PC is a paid closure. Providers get 16 paid closure days per calendar year, which can be used for provider vacations, sick days, inclement weather days, emergency closures, staff-in services, or holidays. All 16 paid closure days should be used before using non-paid closure days. Providers will need to enter 5 paid closures if they're closed for an entire week. So if you're taking a vacation or your program's closed, you want to enter all 5 days. NP is the non-paid closure. Providers would use non-paid closures for any day the program is closed beyond the 16 paid closure days. Non-paid days should only be used after a provider has used all 16 of their paid closure dates for that calendar year. And then let's talk about auditing. So providers are required to keep a backup attendance method. So for example, your childcare management software, electronic tracking, paper attendance for licensing and auditing purposes, things like that, for 3 years. Your food program menus do not count for this. I did mention at the beginning, we're going to be offering a second of the backup attendance methods. So we'll be doing those in July, as well as repeating this one as well. So if you missed that first one, you can attend that one in July or watch for the recording. So auditors for the state will monitor all attendance data that's submitted through the new provider portal and look for discrepancies. So children that are never marked as absent, weeks with only days off days marked, weeks of only absences, etc. Those are the kind of things that they would be looking for. Backup methods will be requested, and if this does not agree or you're not keeping a backup method, you will have to make a repayment. Just a reminder that it is a fraud to falsify attendance records or keep payments for children that were not attending. It is the provider's responsibility to make sure that attendance records are accurate and that they are returning any payments to the state that should not have been received. Programs can lose their ability to accept CCDF or On My Way Pre-K if they have an IPV, which stands for intentional program violation. So then at this time, that's all that we have prepared as far as slides go. I see that there were a lot of different questions and things like that coming through in the chat. So at this point, we will start taking those as best as possible. If you have anything that's really specific to your program, we can also reach out directly to you rather than bringing it to the larger group. But go ahead, Tina.
Yes, I'll read the first one. Are providers allowed to email provider forms to the eligibility office, or do these need to come from the parent? And I think that would be one for Shannon.
Providers can email those to the eligibility office. However, you need to make sure that the parent has agreed to those changes, because they will make those changes. And we find a lot of cases that the parent comes back and says, I didn't agree. I just went by for a tour, or, I was just looking into the program, those kind of things. So when they get those changes, they assume that you've already had that conversation with the parent and they are ready to enroll. So don't send without that confirmation.
Thank you, Shannon.
Shannon, this is Laura. I also wanted to add on that topic, when a provider sends a provider form to the eligibility office, if they can CC that parent on the email, then that lets eligibility know that that parent's aware that change is being requested.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, that's solid. Thank you.
Yes. Next question. When children are absent, does the provider lose payment for that day?
So if they're within their 40 days of absences, if they're under that maximum number for the excessive absences, they'll still be paid for that absence. It's once they reach that 40 days that they would no longer be paid.
Next question. We will be closed for 2 weeks in July. How do we mark those days? We do not charge during the 2 weeks.
Okay. So those are going to be marked. You're going to mark those under your closures. I'm going to go back to that slide for just a second. Depending on whether you're marking those as a paid closure or a non-paid closure for your program, that's going to depend on your program, if you've already maxed out the number of paid closure days that you have available or not. So that might be something specific that you need to reach out for, since it's specific to your program, without knowing that information.
And I'm just going to add real quick, Libby, you can mark those since you are not charging families, private pay or otherwise. You can mark those 2 weeks as non-paid.
Thank you, Shannon, for clarifying
Thank
that.
you. Yes. Yeah. Next question. I have a child that comes 4 days, but the mom's work schedule varies. 1 week off Mondays, and the next week her day off is Wednesdays. So can I mark off days even though it varies? I always know which day ahead he won't be here. And if he misses more days not on that day, then I mark absent. Is this correct?
Shannon, if it's okay, I want to deflect to that, because I think I know the answer, but I don't want to give, or go ahead, Laura.
It looks like Laura. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way the policy is written is that if a child is not going to attend because due to the parent's work schedule, that day has to be consistent each week. So the child, did never attend on Monday because mom wasn't scheduled to work, then that would be an off day. But if it varies each week, then those are considered absences. We do encourage the families to bring the children even on their days off, just to provide consistency for programming and continuity of care for the children.
Thank you, Laura.
So after we submit a withdrawal, we mark as off day if they don't attend and not absent. So that's from Anna, again. So I think that's an addition to her first question.
Would you mind reading it one more time, Tina?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was a little confused myself.
No.
So after we submit a withdrawal, we mark as off day if they don't attend and not absent.
Yes, that's correct. So I think what they're asking is in the interim until the voucher gets removed, how should they mark that attendance? So we do ask that they mark as off days so that that child is not accruing absences when they're not attending the program.
Perfect.
And again, that should just be for the remainder of that week. After that, the voucher should come off because they should be processing those. So if you're not seeing that, then please follow up with the eligibility office because you do still get paid for off days. So we want to make sure that's not continuing for an extended period of time where you would have an improper payment.
Thank you. And I don't see any questions yet. There's new questions, that is.
Okay.
Waiting for them to come in.
Sounds good. If there,
okay. Here's another one. If the voucher does not come off, I will follow up, but sometimes it takes CCDF a while. So after reaching out, do I still continue marking as off days?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I would definitely make sure though that you're following up with your eligibility office so that you're not getting an improper payment for too long because you wouldn't want to have to potentially pay that back.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
New question. If the family takes a vacation, we should mark as off day, correct?
No, if the family takes a vacation, you would be marking those as absent days because those are even scheduled absences or still absences. Off days are only the days that they're not enrolled in the program.
I will also say, Chelsea, on that topic, that if a family, because we have heard that there are some families that are taking like sabbaticals and are gone for a month or so at a time. So if a family is going to be away for more than a 2-week period, then that family can reach out to the eligibility office and request a gap in their voucher.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's a good point, Laura. Thank you.
And,
now,
and just,
that's only if the provider isn't expecting to be paid, of course, because if we create that gap, there will be no payment.
Thank you.
New question. We are closed next week with PC. Will it show as blacked out or do we use off days for the entire roster?
If your program is closed, you're going to use your provider codes for that, which would either be your PC paid closures or your, let me go back to this one more time, or your non-paid closures. So that's going to depend on whether, because it's your program that's closed, whether you're using paid or non-paid closures.
And just to tag on to that a little bit, you will see that across your entire roster. So it will be in red across every child for that day when you have PC marked. So you do not mark any attendance for the children.
Next question. If a parent wants to go down to part-time for the summer or for a month or two, but still come the same 3 days a week instead of 5, do they contact CCDF or do we mark off days on the days they went down to part-time and don't attend?
I'd like to deflect to Laura on that one. I'm guessing that that's a change in their voucher, so that would be maybe a little bit of a slippery slope for them.
So right now we're not creating part-time vouchers. And I believe, yes, they would mark them as off days. Is that correct, Shannon?
That is correct. Yeah, that nothing would change on the voucher itself or on the payment, but you would mark those as off days for their regular days they don't attend.
Thank you. I don't know why my voice is cutting out. Next questions. We have a few days that are optional and we only bill if they attend. If one of the students doesn't attend, can I use off day since we gave them the option to not attend versus absent?
I'm thinking about this one. I think I know. So if one of the students doesn't attend, can I use off day since we gave them? So if they have the option of not paying and you're okay with not being paid for those days, then I'm stumped. Go ahead, Laura. I see you off mute. Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, if the child has a voucher, you're gonna, well, no matter what that attendance is versus a non-paid closure, you're going to be paid for that day.
Yeah.
So 2 days that are optional, we only bill if they attend. Um, I would say that would have to be an off day. Well, no, if the program's open for business and they choose not to attend, that would be an absence.
Absence. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, sorry, I had to really think that one through.
Yeah, that one had me a little stumped. I was thinking that, but I didn't want to be incorrect about that. So it would be an absence because the service is being offered, but they're choosing not to attend.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next question. For public schools that take Christmas break off, do we notify the roster cleanup so it does not take days away from the children?
Shannon, I know that we discussed this when we met. Do you want to address that for those public schools?
Sure. So again, this goes back to the paid or non-paid closures. So it would not take anything away from the children, because if the program is closed, you're going to choose to either mark that as a paid or a non-paid closure. So you're not marking any attendance for the children. You're not marking them as absences. That's not counting against them. It just depends on whether or not you are expecting payment for those weeks or not during your break.
Next question. If the goal is to encourage attendance, but a family prefers to keep that child home over Christmas break to be with family, I feel that maybe we shouldn't count that against the family. Can we mark as an OD?
Just to touch back to what Shannon said, that's going to depend on whether you expect to be paid for that or not. That's going to be a decision whether it's going to be a paid closure or a non-paid closure.
And I think she may be asking if they're open and operating, but parents keep their children home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I see that.
So
yeah.
Go ahead, Chelsea.
In which case it would be an absence, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Next question. Can you tell us more about a gap in a voucher? This is important so that we will not receive overpayment for children, but want to save their space.
Let me come back here. The gap. Go ahead, Laura.
I was just going to say, because I don't think we've addressed that in any of the slides. So we will allow for a family to request a gap voucher if no payment is being expected by the provider, and they're not going to be using that voucher for a period of 2 weeks or more. The applicant, or the parent rather, can reach out to the eligibility office to identify that gap. And I believe the provider should be able to indicate that on the roster management Google form that's out there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct. So this would be for kids who go and stay with a grandparent over the entire summer. The only way to avoid that improper payment that you're asking about, Renee, is to have no vouchers there. So the vouchers would be removed. They would start again when the child comes back. And yes, I just saw it pop up. Could that gap be maternity leave? It can be for any reason that they don't need the vouchers for that extended period of time. But again, should be a conversation they're having with the provider, because there will be no payment. And whether or not you decide to hold the spot for that family is up to the program.
Okay, Shannon.
I was just going to say there's lots of great questions coming in.
Yeah.
So this is a fantastic conversation. And I know there's a lot of you here, so it's good information for everybody to have. So if you have additional questions, keep them coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Another question. I have a student who is out for the summer and submitted the form for that gap. But when I look at future vouchers, it's not listed there either. Will that populate later in the summer? I want to make sure they still have their vouchers.
So I will say that however that was communicated to the eligibility offices, whether it was from the provider or the parent, there should have been a return date identified as well. So if you're not seeing and at that time, the future voucher should have been created to start when they return. So if you're not seeing that, then you should probably reach out to eligibility.
And I'll just add, it also depends on if their reauthorization is that far out in the future. So if they've requested a gap for the summer, but their reauthorization date is in July, you're not going to see anything in the future, because they'll still have to reauthorize even if they're on that gap to have vouchers for the following year.
Yeah, good point.
New question. So just to clarify, if a child will be out for both Christmas and New Year's at 2 weeks, then they can reach out to CCDF so they don't occur several absences.
Yeah.
Yes, as long as you're not expecting payment, as long as the provider's not expecting payment.
Next question. I have a parent that has 4 children, but only 3 are showing up on our roster. How do we get paid for the one child that is not showing up on our roster, even though it's on the parent's form? Will they go back and pay for those days, or once be active when the parent calls about the voucher?
So that really depends on the status of that child. If that child is, active to receive services and maybe they just got missed by eligibility, then they should be able to go back and add that voucher. But if the child is on the waiting list and not eligible yet to receive services, then no, we would not be able to go back.
Thank you. We have parents in retail whose schedule changes, their children's attendance changes, and is communicated with us. This is still considered an absent.
Correct. If they are a full-time student, then yes, it would still be an absent. If they're a part-time student, it would be an off day.
And that would depend on what the vouchers say. If the parents claim that they wanted their children to attend your program Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, then the Wednesday would be an off day and the others would be absent. Is that correct? Does that sound right?
That's right.
Okay. Next question. Should providers see absences restart at renewal or another date during the year?
Go ahead, Shannon. Thanks.
Sorry, I'll jump in there because that one's a little more complicated. So
yeah.
It is at their anniversary date, which both parents and providers can see in their portal. It does not always align with the reauthorization date. So you do need to check that for each child, even children within the same family, because it is the anniversary date of when they started the program. So if all of the children in the family did not start at the same time, they will have individual anniversary dates, even though they all have the same reauthorization date. So in your portal, if you're looking under My Vouchers and you click on that child, it will tell you how many absences they have and when their anniversary date is. And that's when you can expect to see that reset.
Thank you.
And I actually did know the answer to that one, so that worked out.
I should let you answer it, Chelsea.
Yeah, you said it much better than I would have said it, Shannon. Thank you.
Next question. If DCS is involved, can a family or children get CCDF, or do they have to go on the wait list?
That one I don't, though, so I'll go ahead and deflect.
So right now, the children, DCS are still going to the wait list.
Okay.
Thank you.
And-
Nicole asks, oh, I'm sorry. Was I
Oh, I was
interrupting?
just going to say, and yes, parents are made aware of the attendance policy.
Attendance policy,
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Yes, are parents aware of the attendance policy? Yes. Next question. Is this the proper forum to discuss the change in payments on the vouchers rate versus path level payment?
So I think she means her past equality level changed. That would probably be a better conversation to have with your eligibility. Or no, I'm sorry, I apologize. Not eligibility. It just the eligibility is the one that the parents reach out to, the ones that the providers reach out to. Sorry, it fell right out of my head.
Oh, and now that you've said it, I'm confused.
Policy consultants can
Policy.
probably answer those questions for
Policy.
you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Policy consultant was what I was looking for. Sorry.
Okay, Kelly wants to know, are the absences we see in real time or is there a delay?
So the portal cannot see an absence until the provider actually hits that submit button. So they are updated as soon as you submit. So if you've already, submitted for the current period, as soon as it finishes, then you will see it as close to real time as you can. If a provider is behind by several weeks or several periods, then you're not going to see those updated dates. So that's why as soon as that period is over, it's important that you're getting those attendance periods submitted in a timely manner so that those can be updated.
Thank you. And then the question about the rate versus path level, she says she was speaking of the overrate copays that are now being charged.
We may have to have a separate conversation on that. So there has always been copays, which are based on a family's income. That is evaluated every time a family authorizes or reauthorizes for their vouchers on a yearly basis. And then there are overages, and that's the difference between what a provider is charging and what the voucher actually reimburses. And both of those amounts the family is responsible for so that the provider is getting their full charges. So if you have questions that are in addition to that, or you're seeing something that you don't understand, we're happy to answer those questions for you. I'm going to drop an email in the chat and you can reach out and we can discuss that further.
Thank you. Next question. I have a student who was moved to another daycare, but then returned to our daycare. A CCDF form was sent in when the child returned, but the other daycare received payment. The other center refused us, but since then we found out the voucher had not updated us in the daycare as the daycare provider. We reported to CCDF and they reactivated the voucher starting this week. Who do we reach out to so that we can receive payment for the rest of the time the child was in attendance prior to this week?
Lizzie, I'm going to say also if you will use that payment questions email so that we can look at the individual case. I will say that when eligibility makes a change to a voucher, they can only make it to a future week. So they cannot change anything in this week that we're already in or anything in the past. So if those changes need to be made, we put in a ticket or what we call a data change. It goes to our tech team and they change those on the back end. Those usually take about a week to complete and would be for any current weeks or past weeks. So depending on the timing of what you're asking, it could be something that is still in process. So if you want to reach out to that payment questions email, happy to check the individual case and see what that status is.
Thank you. No new questions at this minute.
What you mean costly? The hamburger?
Well,
if you just
all right, I'm sorry. I don't think she meant to come off mute. There's someone Zoom user that came off mute. If you have a question, feel free to go ahead and unmute again, but I don't think you meant to.
Kelsey, can you slide back to, I think it was your first slide. I wanted to make a clarification on the attendance code for present.
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
So when it says that the attendance code of present is used when a child has attended any part of time during a given day. So we want to make a clarification there that that child has to have received some type of service from the program to be considered present for that day. So they have to have participated in some kind of activity, received a meal. The expectation is not that that child walks in the door, they get clocked in, and then they get clocked out and they're considered present. So just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, one new question. If a staff member is on CCDF and they do not work a day, would it be off day when they don't come if they aren't scheduled, and absent if they call in?
So for the child, it would be an absent day if it is one of their regularly scheduled days. If they are not attending 5 days a week, then it would be an off day if it is their regularly scheduled off day. But it sounds like in most instances, this is going to be an absence.
Yeah, that's right. So if they are not scheduled to come in, and that day is consistent each week, then that would be an off day. But if that staff person calls in and the child then doesn't attend, that is an absence. Yes. Lots of great questions.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you being here, Lauren, Shannon, and getting these. I believe this slide deck actually already exists on the FSSA website, if I remember correctly, from the original presentation of this. I will double check that though. If you want to drop your email, I can follow up with you on that. Shannon, do you know the answer to that?
They should still be on the FSSA website, yes. And some of the original Spark presentations include this information as well. That is still on the Spark website, but we are happy to send these out to anybody individually that needs them as well.
Yes. Give it just another minute. Give everybody some time to type if they're using the chat feature. You're also welcome to come off mute if that's easier, if anybody needs to, but. Oh, Renee, I'm glad to hear that. That was what we were hoping for.
Tell all your friends that are providers that we're doing it again next month. They can come and find out too.
There's a new question. Are staff members still being fast-tracked to receive CCDF vouchers for their children?
We are still maintaining a list of staff members who are being referred by their employers, and maintaining that as a waiting list for when funds are available. Yes.
I'll go ahead for now and stop my share unless anybody needs to see anything again. I see Christy asked, will voucher rates stay the same for next year?
That is still in progress. We still have some provider surveys that are open out there working on getting those true cost of care and what those rates will look like. And to the question just above that, we don't know that yet. We are at the mercy of the powers that be as far as funds and budgeting. And so we let providers know that as soon as we get that information.
One new question, why can't there be a way that providers can refer parents who need vouchers, receive the vouchers of a family who aren't using them instead of the family going on a wait list?
I think, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Shannon.
Go ahead. I was going to say, well, and it's because we have to maintain the integrity of that waiting list. So they can't refer a parent that they just found out about that need vouchers ahead of somebody who's been on the waiting list for the last 6 months. So it's really important that we are fairly offering those vouchers in the order that those families apply. And that's why we can't just say, oh, this one's not using it, we're going to replace them with another family. We have to do it in that fair order across the entire state.
Mm-hmm.
And I did find the link from Indiana Spark for watching those previously recorded webinars, and I'm going to drop it in here.
Thank you, Tina.
You're welcome. So everybody can go and look at those.
And those, I'm going to drop those. Yeah, the page that Tina sent also does have the slide decks on it as well as the previously recorded ones.
Yeah, just scroll down and you'll see everything's there.
Yeah, those decks are in there, both there in English and Spanish.
Mm-hmm. It appears like Renee missed an answer to this question.
No, we did get that one, Shannon. Yeah, sorry, Shannon saw that one.
I didn't mark it as answered. I'm sorry.
No, that you're good. You're good. It was when you were looking for that link, I could have marked that for you, but that one was answered. Yeah. We are scheduled until 1:30, so if there is anyone else that has any questions, feel free.
New question.
Mm-hmm.
Are we getting the reimbursement this year? Sorry.
Yeah, can we get more information on?
Thank you.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for that, I'll read the next one. If a parent fails to sign their child in to our CCS system, but they attended childcare that day, has activity on their feed, and is checked in by the teacher on both the CCMS system, I'm guessing, and attendance sheet, are we still allowed to mark them present? I believe the answer for that would be yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
The other question is in reference to the enrollment fee reimbursement that we gave. Last year, we did project enrollment, so we paid through September 30th of 2020.
Mhm.
Trying to get all my dates straight here. So the next payment would be October 1st of 24 through September 30th of 25. And we are not doing that projection. We are using actual enrollment. So we do still expect that. We don't have all the details yet, but it would be later this year since we are not doing the projection. And there will be more information coming out in that closer to the time. It will go out in the Monday Must Know. So if you are not signed up for the Monday Must Know, I will plug that again. That is your best source of all information about rate changes and federal poverty level changes and grants and, you know, all the things that are going on in the office. So if you don't already get the Monday Must Know, let us know. We're happy to get you signed up for that so that you can have that. Oh, Chelsea, thank you. You just dropped that in the chat. So if you aren't getting that, please sign up for that. It's super, super valuable information that you get.
Next question. Do we still need to use a paper attendance backup if parents are signing their kids in and out using Brightwheel?
If you, oh, go ahead, Shannon.
No, go ahead, Chelsea.
If you are using your child care management software, you do not need to keep a paper attendance method. The Brightwheel will serve as your backup method.
Correct. Yeah. So as long as it's not teachers or providers that are signing their parents in on Brightwheel, then that can be the backup method. So if the parents aren't actually the ones doing it, that's when you would need a separate backup method.
Yeah. I see. Yep, I see that. How do we sign up for the Monday Must Know? The link that I dropped just above has all of the bulletins back through February, and you can also sign up on that page as well. You can subscribe.
Next question to clarify about clock-ins. If a parent forgets to clock in their child, the staff are allowed to clock the child in?
I was waiting to see if you could answer that one, Chelsea.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that there's some level of correcting that, but the parent should be doing it on a regular basis. Yes.
Yes, that is absolutely right. So if it is an exception, not a rule, then yes, you absolutely can have the parent go back and verify that information the next day, remind them of the importance of that, but it should not be done on a regular basis.
Right. Just like they used to swipe. Now they're clocking in and out. It's the same idea.
Yeah, and I mentioned that in the other webinar as well. This is a benefit to parents, and they have some responsibility in that benefit, and it is in their rights and responsibilities when they sign up for the program. So they absolutely need to take some responsibility, and we noticed a big shift there when the swipe cards went away and we switched to pay by enrollment. They kind of just wiped their hands of the process and said, okay, my provider's going to do it, and we absolutely don't want that to happen. We want to make sure parents are still engaged. They're still signing up for their parent portal. They're still tracking their reauthorization dates. They're watching those absences, all those things that they should be doing for this benefit. So, asking them to sign in and sign out is just part of that process.
Yeah. And I see there's responses to that. Lizzie, you had missed the response to that question. I think Shannon kind of touched touched on that again, but as long as it is the exception, not the rule. So if a parent forgets to clock their child in or out and they're doing it regularly, you can make corrections, but you want the parent to verify that. And I see that Gwen also said I clock the children in and parents verify weekly on Bright Wheel. And then it almost the exact same thing. So we have two different answers on clock in. So there's kind of a backup for that. As long as parents are verifying that, you'll be okay with your backup attendance method there.
Yeah, and if you're the one doing all the clock ins and clock outs, Gwen, then it actually needs to be printed out and the parents need to sign it.
Yeah.
So if they're not using the QR codes or, signing, doing those check ins and checkouts themselves, then there would have to be a different backup. They can't just look at it because audit's going to look for their verification there.
Right, right. And good point, Nicole. Most of our parents do a great job, and we have the occasional forgetful parent. Yeah, putting that responsibility back on them, as a part of receiving the benefit of CCDF.
New question. They can design on Brightwell. We can print that out and on an audit form.
I think she meant they can
Sign.
e-sign. There we go.
Sorry.
E-sign
Thank you.
on Bright Wheel.
E-sign on Brightwell.
Then that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a feature of Bright Wheel, just making sure that you have that backup for that.
Yes.
So here we got, it is 1:24 Eastern time, so we still have a couple minutes if anyone else has any other questions they can think of. Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, Spark
Thank you.
helped us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I dropped that number in for the Spark Help Desk. They are fantastic at getting providers the answers that they need to their questions. They have a big support team, and they're great. If they don't have an answer immediately, they will get back to you. They will follow up and make sure that you have what you need. So if you are having trouble reaching eligibility or you have any of those questions, please reach out to Spark. That's what they're there for, and they do an amazing job. Supporting our providers. So jot that number down if you don't already have it.
Yeah. We have slowed down.
If nobody else has any questions, I think we can wrap.
Yeah, sounds good. That is everything that we have for you guys. I did complete the debt, but we're glad that you guys found this helpful today, and keep an eye out for the Monday Must Know. If you missed that first one about backup attendance, the date that we have that one for is July 9th. There will be a link for signing up for that, as well as offering this one again if anyone has any questions. So I will go ahead and stop